All right, for this video, I'm going to show you how to use your TI83 Plus or TI84 Plus. They're essentially the same calendar. This emulator just happens to have the TI84 Plus. But I'm going to show you how to use this calculator to graph a function or graph a line. So first we're going to look at how to graph it, then we're going to look at how to use it to fill in a table. So first, if we're going for a graph, the first thing you need to do is hit this y equals key here. So when I click on the y equals, it'll bring up a lot of different spots for me to type in my equation. So you'll notice on here it's showing 7. I think there are actually more, but there are 7 different lines that you can have on the graph at the same time. So we're just going to work with y sub 1, or our first y equals function. Now for today, I'm just going to draw a straight line. So I'm going to say that it's 2x plus 3. So to do that, you're going to hit the coefficient here, 2. This button here shows you your variables. So I click that and it gives me x. You'll notice that the letters on here are x, t, theta. That's a Greek letter. We use that variable for angles normally, or n. Those are some of our more popular variables that we'll use. But this one, again, just because it's y equals mx plus b, it's drawing a line, it's going to use that x. So we have y equals 2x, and I'm going to go plus 3. So I just simply type in my equation here, hit enter. Now it shows that this one is highlighted, this one is ready to go. It will go onto our plot, or onto our graph. After you typed in the equation, now you just graph it. And you do that by hitting this graph key. So first we hit y equals, typed in our equation, now we're going to hit graph, and you can see that it graphs your equation, that straight line, for you on the graph. Okay, now I just want to show you, I can also come back in here, I can click on this equals, hit enter, and now that one is not highlighted, so when I go to graph, nothing will show up, because it is not graphing any lines. So if I wanted to say, put in a different equation, let's say x squared minus 2. Now if I were to graph it, since that one is highlighted, it would give me that parabola. It would be showing me this equation instead of my straight line. If I wanted to, I could click both on. Now it would show me both the parabola and that straight line. They're both on the same graph. So for our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and just clear this one out. We just want to be looking at our one equation. Here's the graph of that straight line. Now things you can do from here, if you wanted, you could hit zoom. This would bring up a few options. The main ones are going to be zoom in and zoom out. So let's say I wanted to zoom in on what this looks like. Now I'm not going to zoom from any old spot. You move your arrow keys around and notice you have a cursor here that's going to move your cursor wherever you want to zoom. So if I want to zoom in right here, now we can see this is where it's going from. So let's say I move my cursor, and yes, it does take a few clicks to get it exactly where you want. But let's say I wanted to zoom in again right here. There's still my line. I'm zoomed in even farther. So if I wanted to zoom back out, hit Z, or the zoom again, zoom out, enter, zoom out from there, and there's my line again. Now let's say I wanted to get back to that original zoom. So you just hit zoom, and you go back to Z standard. This was the original spot that you were at, your original main box. Z standard, here we are. This was what our line looked like before. Another cool function of this is you can hit this trace button. Now it will slide along this line as you hit over. If you hit on your arrow keys, it'll slide along this line and show you the points where you're at. So when x is 0, y is 3. Now if I move over, when x is this long decimal number, y is this long decimal number. Now again, with the trace function, it's not exactly perfect. It's not quite what you want because it's not necessarily going in good whole number increments. Now it looks like up and down don't make it go. It's just the left and right that allow you to slide around there. Okay, so well, yes, trace is kind of fun, kind of nice, easy to use. It doesn't give you good whole number increments. That's what the table is going to be for. So I'm going to show you how to use the table now. So we've gone over how to use the graph on the calculator. Now we're going to look at making a table. From here, so after you have your y equals already plotted in, instead of clicking graph, we're going to go table. Let's say you were in the graph though and you wanted to go directly to table. You're still doing the same thing. You're going to hit this second key, the blue one here. Now you're going to use that table. It's actually the graph button, but it's actually going to bring you to the table. So second and then table, which again, it's that graph button. Now here is the table for the line that we were looking at. For that 2x plus 3, notice when x is 0, y is 3. When x is 1, y is 2. X is 2, y is 7, and so on. Here are all your x values. If you want to slide up and down, and you can see the corresponding y values that go with them. Okay, so that is how to find a table from your calculator. Now another cool function of this is these x values are all given. If you want to, you can hit second, and here it says table set. Now it's above the window button, but you have to do second and hit that window button, table set. Now it is telling you, okay, the table starts at -3. The change in the table values is each 1. Let's say we wanted to make it each 2. So it's going to start at -3 and it's going to count by 2. So go back into the table then. Now each one is jumping by 2 instead of jumping by 1. Now we can see all of the y values that go along with that. Let's say we also wanted to change it. I go back to second table set. From here, let's go back and keep it as 1, but there's the independent variable and the dependent variable. Now again, in this case, the independent variable is our x, the dependent is the y. Instead of it automatically choosing both of those, we're going to have the independent, the x one, be on ask. So you're going to have to hit enter on ask. Now when you go into the table, there's nothing there for the x until you click it. You'll click maybe something like 5, hit enter, it gives you the y value for it. 6, 17, -3. Now you are picking the values for x and it will give you the values of y. So this is a nice function for creating your tables using the TI83 or TI84 Plus calculator.